boss
It's
lady.
true. Gabriel tweets, my book club uses books being made into film. Can you explain what it means when a book has been optioned?
Yes, being optioned, and this has happened. I've had screenplays optioned. You probably had some stuff optioned before too. Yeah. So basically, an option basically means like this. Let's say Christian wrote a screenplay, or in your situation, a book, right? And I'm a film producer, and I think, man, don't you have to read first? Okay, so
that's right.
First,
shave your mustache.
So I decide, I read this book, and I'm thinking, I think this thing has potential. But I'm not in a position right now that I'm ready to commit $30 million to make a movie or whatever, but I really like this story. I think there's something I can do with it. So I go to Christian and I say, okay, how about this, Christian? I might want to make your book into a movie. So how about, without flat out buying the rights to your book, let me pay you $10,000 right now. And that means you cannot sell the rights to this book as a movie to anybody else between now and, say, March. And I have the option. I am the only one with an option on it. So that means I have the option between now and March, so I can go to Christian and say, okay, now, I'm ready to go. I'm going to buy the rights to your book now for $150,000, blah, blah, blah. Nobody else can make that deal. So that happens with screenplays a lot. That happens with books a lot. Somebody holds the option. That doesn't necessarily mean a movie's getting made. It just means that somebody's interested enough that they want to put on hold. They're basically putting your work on hold, saying, hey, I want to take that. And then at the end of the day, if I don't make that movie, he still gets to keep the $10,000, which is a good little thing.
I mean, you could look at studios right now. It's small studios, small production companies probably have 30, 40, 50 books or screenplays in option, just in option.
Oh, probably more than that.
Yeah.
I'm talking like the smaller ones, they're just sitting on things, and the option is usually the shortest amount of time. It's usually like 3 to 4 months, and then if they don't exercise the option, or they have rights to exercise a longer option, right, because they want to eventually buy it.
Then you can buy the option again,
Correct.
and then you can buy the option again. I had a screenplay once that was like optioned like 4 times in a row by the same guys.
It's just an option. There's an option budget.
Yeah.
It's just like, okay, we want to option this many projects, and I mean, you nailed it as far as the definition of it. But when I was working for Joel Silver, it's like things would get optioned all the time through the studio, and it was just a matter of and a lot of the times because it's what's popular out there. Okay, well, look, there's a book out there that a lot of people haven't read yet. This is new. One of the jobs was to go through books that haven't been tapped in yet. Let's throw an option on it. Like sometimes, even if they're not great, to throw an option on certain books to see if you can develop a story out of them that work. It happens all the time.
It's kind of like an option is going out to dinner. A buy is buying the car, and it getting made is like, I'm going to get a house and go on vacation.
Yeah. And getting an option is not really that big. Like for every one that actually gets picked up, there's probably 500 that get optioned.
Oh, yeah.
I've already gotten, look, without reading a page, I've already gotten inquiries asking if my book has been optioned yet, if the option rights are still available and stuff like that. So it's like, it's not a unique thing, but that is the first step, the way you said it. It's the first step in the process. Yeah. All right, what's next?
Adam tweets, what would you guys say to touching up the special effects in Jaws rather than a complete reboot? Love you guys.
I find Jaws to this day to be one of the most terrifying, scary, intense movies I have ever seen, and it doesn't need visual effects touch-ups to do it for me. I am perfectly happy with the way, and this isn't just me going, no, don't touch it. I mean, literally, the way it is scares the hell out of me. So I certainly wouldn't touch it. I mean, I'm fine with somebody rebooting if you want to, but I don't see any need to retouch the visual effects.
I mean, if you did something like we talked about yesterday on Jedi Council with the steel books that just came out, like the sound and how like it just looks like it just came out yesterday. If you did something along those lines, sure, but yeah, I agree. You don't need to touch Jaws, and you certainly don't need to remake it. I am saying because it's just a movie that does not need to be remade. It's pointless.
Well, we hope that the Chris Hemsworth Moby Dick movie will be as terrifying as Jaws.
You say the Chris Hemsworth, Alan Quartermain movie.
Yeah. The Moby Dick movie will be anywhere near as terrifying as Jaws.
The posters are pretty terrifying.
And even the extended trailer is fantastic. We've talked about it 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea on this show, that everything lives up to Jaws. Again, why even remake it? That movie still, if I showed that to a 10-year-old today, he would be just as scared as I was when I saw it at 10.
You were so scared out of your mind last week watching
it.
Yeah.
All right, what's next?
Dusty wants to know what our schedule is going to be like during Thanksgiving week for Movie Talk, Jedi Council, and Heroes.
Oh, that's a fair enough question. Yeah, Heroes will be on its regular day, will be on Tuesday. Jedi Council, which is normally on Thursday, will be on Wednesday, so we sneak it in without taking the week off. Then there will be no movie talk on Thursday or Friday, but we will have some videos that we'll be putting up. We're working out which videos those are going to be right now. Maybe it'll be, a mailbag or something like that, but there will be some programming. But Jedi Council Tuesday is normal. For next week only, Heroes will be Tuesday as normal. Yeah. Jedi Council will be on Wednesday, which we got a little announcement on Wednesday to give you, but hang in tight for that. And then Thursday, Friday, no movie talk, but mailbags and stuff like that will be up afterwards. Thanks for the question.
Mark tweets, what about a Gargoyles movie? It was a very smart show with a lot of depth. Animated or live action?
I'm not sure how smart it was, but it was certainly a popular one. Hey, look, honestly, when they started cranking out the G.I. Joes and the Transformers and things, and for heaven's sakes, Gem and the Holograms, I mean, why not Gargoyles? Right. There's some interesting. Look, you don't do an exact adaptation of what the cartoon was, but there's a lot of cool stuff that you could do there that doesn't involve I, Frankenstein. That could be very cool and look really good and tell a neat story. I just wonder if. I kind of feel that with each passing day, the chances of a Gargoyles movie gets less and less. I think the further we get away from it, I think the time to make it would have been about 5 years ago, to be honest. What do you think?
I don't know. I think that if Voltron ever gets made, and when Masters of the Universe gets made, those are 80s properties that I think, and I think Gargoyles was like in the 90s, right?
Yeah.
When those movies get made, I think it's people are going to go back in and say, okay, what about Gargoyles? What about Mask? I think I think that you
Mask.
I think you really could develop a show. I don't think it's one of those properties that you're like, well, wait a minute, we've lost the boat on it, because I don't think it's you're just gonna worry about the audience that is already tuned in, because if you put together a good trailer for that, there's people that maybe didn't watch it religiously. Oh, that Gargoyles thing looks good. Where'd that come from? It's it's actually a popular cartoon back in the day, because Gem and the Holograms should have just gone after its core audience and didn't. Went after somebody completely different and just missed the mark completely and hit the toilet bowl. So it's
not only Gargoyles, and I mean maybe I'll get a laugh but Gummy Bears. That was a great cartoon
bouncing
too.
here and there and everywhere.
I had no idea there was a Gummy Bears show.
Oh, really?
Oh my God, it was incredible.
It was great.
It was like, do you remember the Robin Hood, the Disney Robin Hood animated with Fox?
Run through the forest.
I love that show.
That had the same animation style that did. Gummy Bears were great. They bounced around the forest. They were kind of badass.
Does each episode end with a child
capturing them and
eating them?
No.
Yeah, devouring them.
But
and
it had an
ripping their
amazing
heads
theme
off.
song.
I'd be up for that movie. I would be up for that one. Okay, let's take two more real quick.
Cinema Commander wants to know what exactly an executive producer does.
Take some money.
or takes money or raises the money. Yeah. All the producer titles, all of them, they do carve out a little bit of description, but it can almost mean anything. I mean, it depends on if you're talking about an executive producer on a television show is very different from an executive producer on a movie. Like executive producer on television, you know very much what that is. That's your showrunner right there. If you got an executive producer on television, in movies, it could be different things. Just like any producer title. Steven Spielberg, we talk about this sometimes. Steven Spielberg is the producer on 106,000 films. I lost track. But a lot of those is just, you want to make that movie? Yeah, I'm bored. Put my name on it and send me a check for $100,000. Okay, boom. He's a producer, or Steve Spielberg will make one call for you to get a director on board. You get a producer credit. I mean,
gets international distribution.
Traditionally, though, Christian, what are some of the more generic or general things that would separate what a producer and associate producer from an executive producer?
So a lot of times it's the money, for sure. Yeah. But I think that the difference there is, I believe that Steven Spielberg is an executive producer on Jurassic World. Mm-hmm. And Jurassic World is the most recent one that came out, right?
Yes.
Not Park. I mean, not World, Lost World. And from when we spoke to Colin Trevorrow, he said that Spielberg was very involved, and he would talk to. And now that might have just been a scenario of just like, hey, Colin, you can call me anytime you want, and Colin called him anytime he wanted, and then Steven Spielberg was really involved. But there are times, like you said, and it happens a lot of the times, like, because I don't know how involved Christopher Nolan was in Man of Steel. They say, and I don't necessarily know, like that was
almost none,
right? So I mean that's the exact difference. Is where Spielberg on Lost World very involved, Nolan not involved at all. So,
But like you said, like on TV, you could see upwards of 3, 4, 5 executive producers on a TV show. Usually the first mentioned executive producer is your showrunner or your creator kind of thing. And the next are the people that greenlit it from within the studio or within the production company.
Yeah.
it runs very different in TV and film and movies for sure.
And Spielberg's an interesting situation too, because a lot of times, like a studio will say, "Run this by Steven."
Right.
And if Steven will say, "Yeah," so for instance, I remember J.J. Abrams was at CinemaCon with us in Las Vegas and telling the story about how not District 9.
Cloverfield?
No, the little horror movie
Super
8.
Super 8.
I knew there was a number in there. Super 8 got made, and he tells a story. He goes, "Well, they said because JJ had the idea for 2 separate movies, and the studio said go run it by Steven." So he goes and sits in office Steven Spielberg, and he says to Steven Spielberg, "Okay, I got these 2 ideas. One is really imagining the youth that both Steven Spielberg and J.J. Abrams shared, which is getting these Super 8 cameras and running around making movies. Just a movie that explores the magic of telling stories and making movies with your Super 8 camera." He goes, "Then I got this idea for this other movie, kind of a horror kind of action movie of a mysterious train coming out of Area 51 and something escapes from it." And Steven Spielberg went, "Why don't you put the 2 movies together and make them one movie?" And boom, he's an executive producer.
right,
And it was done. So, I mean, and that's a true story, by the way. You should look that up. All right, last question of the day.
Dave tweets, can you think of any movie that you were totally into the entire time, but the ending ruined the entire thing?
It's a great question. I got to think about it, though.
I feel like we talk about at least one every couple of weeks where there's like a great movie and then it just completely falls apart at the end. So I'm having a hard time picking one out of the top of my head. But yeah, it was something I'd have to sit down and think about. But I feel like that happens a lot. I feel like it happens. Jack Reacher is one for me that I thought was strong throughout and then had a really weak ending.
Easy. Interstellar.
Oh, Interstellar's
That was
another
for
one.
me,
Although I really liked Interstellar all the way through, but I wasn't.
I liked it the second time I saw it because the first time I saw it,
We saw it together.
Yeah, and the ending, I was like, "What?" But when I watched it again, it made a lot more sense. Yeah, I'd have to think about it.
Hey guys, if you like this clip, click here to watch the entire episode. Also, make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel because it'll help you stay up to date with all the stuff we've got going on here at Collider.